And Ricky pretty much immediately said, "Oh, great, nice to meet you. Do you have any food for me?" And then finally, this man in his early 30s steps out from the tree line and he looks over and he sees Ricky. And for a second, the two men just kind of look at each other. But then this guy just grinned at Ricky and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And immediately Ricky felt relieved because he could tell just from looking at this guy that very likely he was not a threat. The man introduced himself as Scott Johnston and he told Ricky he was actually camping in the area with a friend of his and they were out here fishing just like Ricky. And Ricky pretty much immediately said, "Oh, great, nice to meet you. Do you have any food for me?" And Scott was like, "Absolutely." And he dug into his bag that he had with him and he pulled out a couple energy bars and a bag of chips and he threw them over to Ricky. And he also gave some fresh bait to Ricky so he too could cast out again. And for the next couple of hours, Scott and Ricky just stood on the riverbank and fished together. And after a while, the trout did start biting and they did start catching fish. So the day kind of turned into a great outing for Ricky. And it got even better because as soon as the men were done fishing, Scott asked Ricky if he wanted to join him and his friend back up at the campsite for dinner. And remember, Ricky had no food, so this was an amazing invitation. And he said, "Yes, of course, I'd love to join you." So the two men packed up their stuff right as the sun was going down, and then they began walking back into the forest where Scott had emerged from.